It's lights out. Welcome to the PITWALL Podcast, your stop for fantasy Formula One content. Thank you so much for joining us this evening, bro, dad, and Paola. I'm your host, Jeanmark, and we are your knights in racing armor. This is the Turkey Grand Prix pre-race edition. Let's go. Look at this cool swag I got. Look at this cool swag I got.
Why don't you stand up and take a bow?
Well, because it's going to go blurry. I tried to do this before, and because I have the background that blurs out, it all looks weird. Plus, I'm in like mirrored mode. The point is, I have the McLaren limited edition Monaco Golf livery for the second batch of orders. So happy to get it. Bro, tell us your little crazy story about your Hamilton 100 race win t-shirt fiasco.
I went on the official Formula One site to get the Hamilton 100 race win shirt, went and looked at some reviews, and after I'd already made the purchase, found out it does not have a very good reputation. The only reason it has a 1 star for most people is that they can't vote 0. So, exciting. This is the official website, by the way. Like, this is not just a random store. This is supposed to be the one that when you click on the F1 site, that's what it takes you to. I'm still trying to figure that out, but I did order the shirt on Amazon. Hopefully I'll still get it sometime soon.
So it is recommended that if you're going to buy merch, buy it through the store of the team, like I did with the McLaren store. As we're looking ahead toward the Turkish Grand Prix, we want to share with you our lineups. Last week, we focused on day trading. Now we're starting to get to the point where we're going to pick who we think will perform well in the race. Recognize that we still haven't seen any practice sessions, so you look out for my 3 statistical secrets, and that's where I will unpack what we're seeing there. But bro, share with us your lineup.
Taking a look at my lineup, it looks exactly the same as last video. I was expecting Verstappen to have lost a 0.1 by now, but he hasn't. Bottas is still my placeholder. It doesn't look like anything's going to happen, so before the race, I'll switch him back to Verstappen, most likely.
And you get the benefit of Ricciardo potentially getting a quali streak, and so keeping him around would be pretty good. And his sentiment could continue to grow if it seems like he's going to have decent race pace.
Yeah, the McLarens have looked pretty good in the last couple of races. Hopefully we'll get prime Ricciardo and not shaky Ricciardo. He seems like he's been coming in the last couple of races, so I'm feeling good about him.
And Dad, for your lineup.
I have Hamilton, which I was thinking about going with Verstappen so I could get Red Bull. I've already made 2 substitutions, so that won't work without me taking a penalty. So looking at what I'm going to do is take Gasly off, replace him with Ricciardo so I can have that advantage of the streak. I was tempted to go with Perez, but I'll probably go with Ricciardo.
Okay. And then McLaren. They potentially are going to give you a power streak, plus 15 points. So is that why you're thinking about keeping them around?
Absolutely.
My lineups looked very similar going to last race with the difference of the constructor. And you guys brought up good points about how the constructors is what allows you to have a powerful team going throughout the season. And I saw that firsthand. Alpine was the first time that either of my team did not have a Red Bull, a McLaren, or a Mercedes. And so Alpine did not do nearly as well as I was hoping on Team 1. I'm going to switch out Alpine. As you can see, I've got Hamilton, Bottas, Norris I'll keep, Gasly, and Russell. Probably Gasly's going to be the wild card about whether I'm going to keep him around. I probably need to get rid of Alpine and pick up like McLaren or Ferrari, or I go back to the steady, tried and true Red Bull. But I've already used my wild card on Team 1, so I have to be careful on how I'm doing those substitutions. Team 2, I am planning to switch from Hamilton to Verstappen based off of his performance. That is all going to have to do with, like I said, managing the substitutions. Since I'm only doing 3, but the second team can use a wild card. So if push comes to shove, I could do that. You can always comment in the section below. What is your lineup? How do you need help? How can we brainstorm with you?
Yeah, if you got a good lineup, put it in the comment section so we can take it from you. And then we'll both have the same points at the end of the race.
So I have a question for you. Are you going to stay with Norris as your turbo driver or go with Sainz?
Oh, no, I'm not going with Sainz.
Okay.
Leclerc took an engine penalty this last race. Sainz is reported to take an engine penalty this coming race.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes, so that's why I would not turbo Sainz.
Okay, but here's a question. Is this normal? I don't remember there being this many engine penalty last year.
Well, last year didn't have a 22 race season.
Oh, I see.
when you have a longer season, then you have that problem. Last season, you had so few races because they were trying to, get to their minimum that you didn't have all those engine penalties. But that's something that we're potentially going to be seeing in the future as well, is if you get these 23 race calendars, you're going to have teams taking a fourth engine or like Bottas taking a fifth engine at some point during the season, especially if there's crashes. And that's going to start our discussion here this evening. It is heavily rumored that Mercedes will need to give Hamilton a new engine, which would give him a penalty starting at the back of the grid at that race. If the rumors are correct, and if he has to take it in the next 4 races, which of the next 4 tracks, whether it's Turkey, United States, Mexico, or Brazil, is it most likely to happen? Now, before I get Dad and Dominick's discussion, let us go over some facts. The Turkish Grand Prix winners 2020, Lewis Hamilton. Last time it was held there was in 2011, won by Vettel when he was with Red Bull. 2010, won by Hamilton when he was with McLaren. And then 2019 by Braun GP with Jenson Button. And then the previous 3 years was won by Ferrari and Felipe Massa. And in his first year, 2005, was won by Kimi Räikkönen in Mercedes McLaren. On to the Circuit of the Americas. Lewis Hamilton, 2012. Vettel with Red Bull, 2013. Hamilton, 14, 15, 16, 17. Then Kimi Räikkönen won it in 2018 for Ferrari, and then Valtteri Bottas won it in 2019 for Mercedes. Last year it was not held. Mexican Grand Prix, 2015, won by Nico Rosberg and Mercedes. 2016, won by Hamilton at Mercedes. 2017 and 2018, won by Verstappen at Red Bull. 2019, won by Mercedes. Did not happen in 2020. On to the Brazilian Grand Prix. 2012, won by Jenson Button with McLaren Mercedes. 2013, Vettel with Red Bull. 2014 and 2015 by Rosberg with Mercedes. 2016, Mercedes and Hamilton. 2017, Ferrari with Vettel. 2018, Mercedes with Hamilton. And 2019, Max Verstappen. 2020, it was canceled. Now, Brazil was interesting because in 2018, Verstappen could have won that race, but Ocon was trying to unlap himself. They got in a tangle. Hamilton ended up winning that race. Now that we've gone through the stats, and it seems that certain tracks, Mercedes is a little bit more powerful on. Other ones, there's more of a grab bag. Which of these 4 tracks, bro, do you think it could possibly be where Hamilton gets his engine penalty?
Looking at the poll, it seems that we have a lot of people pulling for the USA. I can definitely see the merits of that. Like you said, Hamilton was able to win in America last year, and I feel like they might try to do the same strategy that Red Bull did here in Sochi. This is a good track for Hamilton, and maybe they feel like they can make up a lot of places with some of those long straights that the track has. I feel like there is a good strategy if he's going to take the penalty to do it in the USA.
Interesting. I hadn't thought about this, but maybe they try to do something similar to what they were doing in Monza. If Bottas is able to be really good at that track, they could use him to take the win away from Verstappen, and then Hamilton with a penalty could get back on the podium. So at the end of the day, it would be like Sochi where he got first place, Verstappen got second. This time around, it would be Verstappen gets second and Hamilton gets third. So that could be a potential strategy if they feel like Mercedes is strong on that track. On the flip side, if it's really that strong, why wouldn't they just let Hamilton win the race? But if the engine is at the end of its life cycle, you don't want it to destroy you or for it to lose its power.
The other thing you have to consider is that as your engine loses power, so does your speed. The car could be a little bit slower, and maybe getting that fixed might be better in the long run.
Okay. Dad, what are your thoughts? Which of these 4 tracks?
My response is more emotional. I think Hamilton would want to come in and show his dominance in the U.S., and I don't think he'll take the grid penalty in the USA. He wants to dominate and win that one. I think it's going to happen in Mexico.
Why do you think Mexico instead of the U.S.?
He dominated in the U.S., so he's going to want to dominate again. I think he doesn't want to do it in Turkey because he wants to build up momentum. And if once he wins in the U.S., then he will say, okay, this is a good time to do it, and I'm going to do it in Mexico by Brazil so I can have my race streaks and my quality streaks. Because if he stays and finishes the next races in the top 10, he's going to have that by Brazil. So I think he's going to value those streaks.
I don't know if he's thinking about fantasy Formula One, but...
Well, of course he is. He's thinking about me personally.
Okay.
Obviously.
Obviously. But you do bring up an interesting point. Hamilton wants to build momentum. So why would he take an engine penalty right after getting a snippet of a lead change versus Verstappen and then lose it again? So he probably wouldn't want to take it in Turkey to try to win the race and get ahead. Then he probably wouldn't want to do it in the US because he traditionally is that strong, or like we talked about, maybe they use Bottas to block Verstappen and Hamilton would get on the podium after taking his engine penalty. That then means that going into Brazil, if he has, let's say, a 8-point lead, he could allow Verstappen to get first place. He could get second place, get a fastest lap, and boom, he's still winning the championship. He hasn't given it up. I kind of agree with you. I don't think it'll happen in Turkey just because of momentum. USA, they're so dominant. It would probably be very hard for him to want to do in the US unless he starts having problems in practice session. That's what happened in Zandvoort. He had some engine problems, then they switched it out. So if in any of these tracks he sees that, but I don't think he'd want to give up the power of the US. Mexico seems like it's the most likely chance because of the altitude. It doesn't suit Mercedes, and also because of the altitude, it's harder to warm up the tires. So Mercedes has an altitude deficiency, which is why they're not usually good in Austria. And then if they're not able to warm up the tires, then Red Bull could have that advantage. But then I don't think it would happen in Brazil because he wants to win in Brazil. Brazil is like a racer's track. Also, his hero of Senna, the big track for him. And this could potentially be one of the last races at Interlagos. And so it would be important for him to have those emotional victories. So yeah, I'm leaning probably towards Mexico if he were to take it.
You know what's interesting? I just noticed that both of your teams have scored higher than my team, but I'm higher on the leaderboard on ORC.
Huh, it's probably because you had like one good race. Once you get one good race, the leaderboards, man, you just coast.
Well, that goes to show, Dad, that I've been able to be consistent. You must have had some good lineups, and then you had some rough weeks where I was scoring a little bit more than you.
Listen, he's talking big right now. Okay. If I had gotten the first place, I could be chilling on the top for the rest of the season, too.
I'm not on the top. Someone took over the top spot. I want them to get to 100, and I want to get to 100 somehow. I probably will have the same team that Jeanmark has as team 2 if he puts that into the league, and so we'll probably be somewhere on the podium together.
No, this is my week.
This is your week?
I didn't notice you joined. I was impressed. Your name was actually on the ORC.
I'd actually say it was under 10 people. So I joined.
Okay. He's trying to boost his stats.
Is it over 10 by now, surely?
This is a promo. Join our one race challenge. The code is in the description below. And yes, I love because once you get 10, you can put custom graphics. This is our ORC Elite, and this is our leaderboard. Dad has been sitting at 2nd place. I'm in 9th place. Dad has been on the podium twice more than me. We put your names here when you get on our ORC leaderboard. Like you were teasing me about my performance over the course of the season. Let me just show you this on the web. Okay. These are my two teams. As you can see, team 1 is 2,830. Another one's 2,636. If you go down to summary page, you can see average points per team that has played their Mega Driver 2,100 and have not played as 2,028 points. So I'm actually above league average. If I have not played my Mega Driver like team 2, I'm only 300 points behind the top in the world. Now, that's a little hard to ever catch back up. And if you've played your Mega Driver, then I'm 200 points behind. So I've been playing pretty good and consistent, trying to keep it with my philosophies. Team 1, I try to make as few substitutions, just play the numbers game. And team 2, I'm trying to build my team value so that I can then start swinging for the fences later in the season. So we'll see if I'm able to make those decisions work out. Oh, our leagues. Here's the Turkey One Race Challenge. There's 12. The code will be in the description below. Join us, have fun. And if you're on the top 3, then we'll be able to put you in a special podium ceremony at the end of our next podcast.
Want to give a shout out to Chasing Humor. Left a post in our last video.
A testimonial.
It's going to turn into an infomercial real quick here. Said he went from P16 to P6 after watching a couple of our videos. We're rooting for you, guy. That's real cool. Glad that we were able to help you out there and hopefully not lead you astray and you can get a little bit higher, only 70 points away from P1. Let's see what happens.
Especially because you were saying that you think that with your Mega Driver, when you play it, you should be able to make up that difference and be fighting for first place. And that's what this whole community was about. We wanted to play League DRD, which is so niche. I don't think well, some of you might enjoy watching it, but it was so niche, it really would not appeal to the larger community. We found out there were so many people that were on Reddit asking because they were playing Fantasy Formula 1 for the very first time. So, okay, let's branch it out. Let's make the main focus of this channel to be about helping people with deciding their teams, their compositions. And yeah, we have a discussion here, but in the comments is where, on whether Reddit or YouTube, is where I have my biggest discussions. Sometimes I help you with a perspective. Sometimes you give me a perspective and it all works out. Like, truth be told, this last race, I decided to make a driver Hamilton on team 1 because one of you said you were going to do it. I felt so bad until the last couple laps in the race because it didn't look like Hamilton was going to get max points because how he did during qualifying. But because he passed those people, he got bonus points for passing those positions. And so it all ended up working out fine. It's a give and a take. And thanks for being a part of the Pitwall community.
You got this. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's time for It's in the Numbers. Wouldn't you know, Kesko is once again getting those numbers correct. So last week, the answer was Sainz and Verstappen. Those numbers were a combination of fastest laps and their pit stop times. So congratulations to you, Kesko. This week, we have two numbers, 5.338 and 309.396. This is information based on the Turkey GP. Your goal is to identify those numbers. If you think you know what those numbers mean and you're bold enough to put it in the comment sections, go ahead. If you get it right, we'll give you a shout out in the next video. So good luck.
It's now time for League DRD. For those of you that are watching this for the very first time, League DRD is a special brainchild of this group in which you take the money out of the equation for Fantasy Formula 1 and you make it so that you have driver rotational draft. That way that I can have a driver that my opponent can't have, and then it mixes up each week so that you get the uniqueness of your driver rather than everyone just picking the same 3 lineups of a Verstappen, a Norris, and a Hamilton, right?
Yeah, that's a lineup we can all afford.
I've been seeing people affording that lineup right now. If you got your day trading in, let's review the results of our previous race. We'll start off with the match of Lords between Paola and Dominick. And Paola, you made the amazing decision to put all your power in the court race to get at least 1 championship point. Congratulations, you turboed Leclerc. You got your 52 points because your King's race got you zeros, double zeros. But you would have definitely have lost if you had put Leclerc and Sainz in the King's race. So how do you feel about your master stroke play?
I feel like it was a little bit lucky, to be honest. I'm happy to see my Ferrari loyalty paying off.
There you go. Bro, this means that for the first time, you're going to be in the upgrade position up to the match of Lords. You won with Bottas and Ricciardo, and Gasly Mazepin, of course, doesn't get you the points for the court race, but you get the opportunity next race to get 2 points if you can win the King's race twice in a row. Moving over to the match of Kings. Whoever wins the King's race will get 2 points because you've won it twice in a row, but then that means the other person will by default win the court race. Dad, you decided to turbo Bottas, and if you had not turboed him, you and I would have been tied. So how do you feel about that decision to pull the trigger on spending the credits on Bottas?
Because a tie goes to the current king, I would have essentially lost. So I'm glad I turboed, that way I can be the king.
Exactly. For those of you who are watching, how it works is we have a match of Lords and a match of Kings, and in each of those you have 2 races. A King's race and a court race. Normally you get 1 point for each, but if you're in the match of Kings, because you're winning the King's race twice in a row, you actually will get 2 championship points. And if Dad and I tied, we both would have gotten the points, but I would stay as king for the next race. And so it's actually better for Dad to have broken the tie because not only does he get 2 points and I only get 1, he gets to stay into the match of Kings next week to verse Dominick, where I will have to face off with Paola and win 2 races in order to get 2 championship points. And as you can see, we haven't been playing every single week because of our scheduling, but we're getting things figured out for the last push. 3 more races before we get to playoffs. So Dad and I are tied with 6 championship points. I have the tie break because I have the most match of King race victories, followed by Paola with 4 points and Dominick with 3. And in League DRD, the more championship points you get, the better. But if you don't score a championship point, you are awarded a credit, and you can use those credits to buy turbos, mega drivers, or a wild card. And in our system, DRD, a wild card is the ability to hire a third driver for one of your teams. And we'll get to that later when we are doing our draft. Now it's up to the last 3 races on how we're going to do the seeding going into the playoffs. Let's go to our DRD draft. This is where we're going to pick our keepers. Dominic, who's going to be your keeper?
This is rough. Ricardo has been really good of late. Bottas has also been really good, but like I always have this nagging feeling in the back of my mind. At any given week, Bottas is just gonna not perform. Am I the only person who feels this way?
I feel that way too, son. So you should probably take Ricardo.
Wait, is Dad the king too?
Yes, he's in the match of kings with you, so he was doing a double bluff.
So basically, whatever he says, I should probably not listen to. All right, well, thank you, Dad. That helped me decide. I guess I'll stick with Bottas here. Bottas.
Bottas. Hey,
Bottas.
everyone, we're trying to listen to your pronunciations. We'll placate the masses.
We're going to call him Leclerc.
Leclerc. Dad, he's picking Bottas, so we're going to take him off of your lineup options. So you have Gasly, Perez, or Schumacher.
So I get 2 in a row, and then he gets 2 in a row after he gets the first one.
He has one, then it goes to second. Then you do 2, then he does 2, then you do 2. Yep.
But 1.
Oh, excuse me, bad math.
Do whatever helps me win, man. Just
Do what helps you win.
yeah.
Do I trust Gasly or Perez? I'll go with Schumacher.
What bothers me is that Latifi has just somehow been escaping us. We haven't had the Latifi chant in a while.
True.
That's true.
Now, Paola has less points than me, so you get to pick your keeper first.
I will go with Leclerc. Was that French enough for everyone?
Well, that means that Leclerc is off my list. So I guess I will go with Ricardo. Okay. Because we're a match of lords, we're going to draft first. You're going to notice that I have now added a new notation. If the number shows up in green, that means that they're not counted. So anything that's green means that it's the same as being like in 20th position.
Right, Schumacher in this case, but in other cases, there might be 3 DNFs or something like that, and all of them will be green. So Paola goes first.
Yep, Paola will pick. And for those that are watching, how this works is on the left, you'll see Leclerc is 15th, and that's where he placed in the last race. Then you will go up to the top at the columns, and you will find where Leclerc is. And anybody underneath his column can be drafted. If there's an X, that's because they're wildcard. If there's a dash, that's because they've already been picked. So Alonso, who placed 6th, all the way down to Schumacher in last.
Part of me wants to go with Perez because I think he's going to buckle down and be a team player and take the Constructors' Championship seriously. But also, I'm just not a fan. So I'm going to go with Gasly.
Okay.
And hope he does well.
With Ricardo, my options are Sonoda down to Schumacher. Schumacher DNF for the first time. Latifi.
Oh, you don't get a Jew chant. Latifi. Latifi.
Isn't it crazy, everyone? With Schumacher DNFing, he still has a higher points average than the other 3 options. I'm going with Schumacher.
Have you guys seen the Netflix special?
Yes, of his dad. That was so good.
It's on my watch list.
What did you think about it?
I haven't watched it yet.
Oh. So I'm the only one who's watched it. Okay.
I was going to today, actually, but
No, well, okay.
stay tuned. We will talk about it on our next episode.
Yes, there's our plug. From Gasly, you can pick Raikkonen all the way down to Latifi.
Wait, don't you get 2?
He did.
Oh, he did 2 too. Oh, okay.
Pick Schumacher and Bottas.
Oh,
So Perez is still an option.
wow. Look at that. I can't stay away from him. Can I put my strong feelings of dislike
Man,
aside?
Perez only got 8 points last race. Rip. Raikkonen got 21 points last race. What?
It's skinny.
I'll take Perez. I cornered myself into that one.
Okay, Bottas, Giovinazzi, Sonoda, Mazepin, Latifi. Guess what, people?
Oh,
Latifi.
It sounds like he's said it
Latifi.
4 times now. That's clearly who he's picking.
Yep, I'm picking Latifi.
I feel like this is the first time Latifi has been non-ironically picked.
Perez, that gives you an option of Vettel all the way down.
Ocon.
Okay.
Wait, so what is the Ocon? It's not Ocon. The
Pronounced Ocon?
Ocon? Ocon?
Ocon?
It's French, so however you would pronounce it, I'm not sure.
I think I heard people say Ocon, but it could be
Ocon?
wrong.
Ocon?
No.
I don't know.
Ah, like Ocon.
Yeah, so if we don't know the French and we're going to start now saying Alcon and we don't know it's Alcon.
Yeah,
that's
I'm
gonna
just
be
going to say
funny.
Ocon. No one, unless someone's going to now go in the keyboard, no one has told us how to pronounce Ocon, right? So apparently it's not a big enough deal to them that we
Yeah.
pronounce it a particular way.
Not enough feelings there.
Yeah, nobody seems to care enough to correct us. Don't get mad at us. Get mad at the English announcers who pronounce it that way.
So, bro, you have Bottas. You get to
I was so
pick
close.
Giovinazzi down the
So
tush.
close to greatness. So, Dad, you're definitely picking up Ricardo.
We'll see.
If I go with Latifi, shoot. For me, Sainz and Ricardo is not even an option for me anymore. Maybe I should have thought about that when I was picking my guys.
Bottas, Hamilton, Verstappen, Sainz all scored 30 points. The reason is because in League DRD, we have a ceiling of 30 points and a basement of 0. So we don't give negative points in the league because I hate negative points, but also it feels bad when you have a driver who does good and all their points get removed. And so the max score for the last race was by 4 drivers.
I'm going to have to unironically pick Latifi as well. So let's do that.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow.
That's
Okay.
the only way I can pick up either Sainz or Ricardo.
And that is the strategy of League DRD. Okay, Dad, you have Mick Schumacher. Who are you going to pick?
I'll go with Ricardo. And that leaves me with,
Sonoda or Mazepin?
I'll pick Sonoda.
Man, Sonoda's such a don't want to have him pick.
That loud sigh was really disrespectful.
Let's hear how you sigh when you get Mazepin.
Oh, no. I had not considered this.
Got him.
Got him. See, but here's the thing.
Yeah,
I'm actually going to go with Alonso and Leclerc.
Mm.
pretty smart.
Very
You think-
smooth moves. Okay, Dad, your final pick.
The question is, do I trust Perez more or Sainz more?
You mean Raikkonen?
No, do I trust Sainz more or Perez more?
But Raikkonen got 21 points.
Yeah, one off. Because
And
of the
Perez
rain.
got 8 points.
Can't even
Yeah.
pick up Sainz.
But look at the average.
That's not really an option for you.
Yeah,
Why
Dad.
can't I pick up Sainz?
Because you picked up Sonoda, right?
So notice too high.
Oh, okay. I guess I
So
can't
it goes
then.
back to what I said. It's either Raikkonen or Perez.
I'll go with Perez.
We will see if I made a big brain move here next race.
Probably should have picked up Mazepin. Those two don't score anything anyways. Could have gotten Sainz. Maybe Perez will turn it around. We'll see.
Okay, now that we have them in our draft,
Yeah,
let's go into our Discord under lineups. Now, remember, you have some credits to spend. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Reveal! We'll start off with the match of Lords. I've got in the court race Schumacher and Latifi. Gasly and Ocon, you're probably going to smash me in the court race. Oof. I should have turboed.
Press F in the chats. F in the
Who would
chat.
you have turboed? Latifi?
No, I should have turboed Bottas in the King's race so I could actually get a point this race.
That'd be interesting. Leclerc and Perez versus Bottas Ricardo. She didn't turbo either, so you might actually win.
Yeah, Dominic, okay, let's go to him. For the court race, he's got Leclerc
He wants to
and
win the court race.
Latifi.
Obviously.
And Dad has got Schumacher and Sonoda.
You realize for the actual Kings race, who you
Court
put in the
race.
other race doesn't even matter.
Right, so if you're in the match of Kings, you actually want to draft only for the Kings race. Whereas if
The
you're in the
other
match
two
of
don't matter.
Lords, you want to draft for both.
So I'm wondering why you put Leclerc. Do you actually trust Alonso more than Leclerc?
His last couple of races have been kind of weird for Leclerc.
That's true. He does crash out and stuff.
Sometimes it didn't even seem like it was his fault. Things were just happening and he was just getting shafted.
I still think he's a home run hitter kind of racer. Either he does real well and gets a lot of points, or he has
Yeah,
problems.
but Alonso doesn't get in crashes, which means he's guaranteed some sort of turbo points for Dominic.
Oh,
I'm just surprised
wow.
Dominic didn't just turbo Bottas.
So here's the thing. I'm so worried about this dude. Botas scares me, dude.
Yeah, he can have a good day and then he can get in the pits and not get out of the pits.
Bottas is like a clumsy kid, you know? Will he slip on the banana today?
Banana peel Bottas.
That's how I feel about Bottas. He's like just clumsy. Like things happen to him.
And if he's having a good day, they'll say, let Hamilton through.
Yep.
And there we have it. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. It has always been great to make these discussions with this amazing community. Thank you again for joining me this evening, bro, dad, and Paola. Again, I am your host, Jeanmark, and until next time, we'll see you on the pit wall.